So it would seem as if Rachel Zegler is desperately trying to sell her next film, Snow White. And apparently, the way that she thinks she's going to sell this film is by essentially telling you, the viewer or the potential fan, that the show or the movie is actually about racism and prejudice and identity politics. And we're back here again. It seems like she likes to advertise her films with identity politics. Why? I have no idea, considering a year ago, when the film was supposed to first come out, they had to delay the film and do a bunch of reshoots and hope that the backlash would disappear because she decided to make it about identity politics anyway a year ago. And here she is, no matter how hard they try to silence her, here she is doing the exact same thing again. So let's get into this article, guys, from That Park Plays. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into that YouTube algorithm. So the headline reads, Rachel Zegler says that Disney's Snow White will help fight prejudice and racial division in magazine interview that once more ties Disney's film into her personal politics. This woman is insufferable. She really is. I don't understand why they just don't make her go under a complete and utter muzzle for the entirety of the remainder, until the film comes out. I just don't understand. At this point, I guess maybe Disney has accepted the kind of person that they hired, which is a hardcore activist, somebody who no matter what is going to bring up politics every chance that they get. And Rachel Zegler is no different. I mean, this movie has so much controversy, so much backlash at this point that it really doesn't matter what she says. I don't really understand how much worse she could potentially make it. But then again, anything is possible. So then it says, it seems as though even with Disney's tight media restrictions in place, which clearly aren't doing anything, Rachel Zegler just can't stop herself from making headlines every time she opens up her mouth. Astoundingly, Zegler has once again connected her portrayal of Disney's live-action Snow White to tone-deaf political messaging. In a recent interview with Allure magazine, Zegler openly tied her casting and the film itself to broader social issues of race, inclusion, and combating division. According to Zegler, Snow White isn't just about fairy tales, it's a tool to promote acceptance and discourage societal prejudice. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, because clearly, when you think about Snow White, when you think about a live-action remake of the animated classic Snow White, when you think about going to go see the movie Snow White, the first thing in your mind that you're asking yourself is this a movie about combating racism? Because if it is, wow, I can't wait to see that. I just don't understand why these people think that people out here in their entertainment want to hear about their own personal politics. Like, shut the fuck up about your politics. If the interview is about Snow White, keep your politics out of it. I just don't understand how hard it is to focus on the movie itself. Talk about the movie itself. What are we doing here? You've been dealing with this for a year. For actually probably over a year now, you've been dealing with this backlash. And yet you continue to double down because you're an absolute narcissist. I just don't get how Disney is okay with this. But you know what? Let it be. Her comments come amid months of controversy surrounding the film and once again shine a spotlight on Rachel Zegler's race and how Hollywood frames diversity. Now, here's the ironic thing about Rachel Zegler. So when she was hired for the West Side Story, I don't know if you guys are aware of the story of West Side Story, but it's basically Puerto Ricans versus Italians, essentially. And Rachel Zegler played Maria, who is supposed to be a Puerto Rican. But because Hollywood is like, they're all the same, right? They do it with Asian people. They do it with black people. It's all the same, right? They don't care. They look at somebody like, good enough. They actually ended up hiring Rachel Zegler, who they were unsure whether or not she was actually Hispanic or not. Come to find out she's Colombian, right? But then when they find out she's Colombian, they're like, that's fine. She could play the Puerto Rican Maria. That's perfectly okay. It's close enough, right? So in an interview, Zegler recalled her early struggles auditioning for West Side Story, revealing that white studio executives she made sure to reference their race, repeatedly questioned her background because her last name didn't immediately signal her ethnicity. There's confusion because I don't have a single ounce of Latin in my name. When I was in the running for Maria in West Side Story, they kept calling to ask if I was legit. I remember thinking, do you want me to bring my abuelita in? I will. She credits Steven Spielberg for stepping in and personally advocating for her, securing her the role. But there's an important detail often glossed over. While Zegler is of Colombian descent, West Side Story's Maria is specifically Puerto Rican. yet Hollywood treated her background as a broad, interchangeable fit, highlighting an uncomfortable trend in the industry's diversity efforts. And it is something like, okay, so it is something that happens in Hollywood, but not just Hollywood, right? It's something it's happening in the gaming industry too right now, where you're going to have people that want to talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion, and then they'll showcase something that's supposed to be, one thing, it's supposed to be X, and then they'll give you Y, and they'll say, well, Y is close enough to X, so you should just accept it, stop being a bigot, right? They always do this. This is why you ended up with the Cuban flag with Miles Morales' character in Spider-Man 2 instead of the Puerto Rican flag, because they, it's close enough, right? It's Spanish, right? It's got to count for something. This isn't isolated to Zegler. Hollywood routinely casts actors of one ethnicity to portray another, often lumping all Latino or Asian backgrounds together as if they're interchangeable. Audiences have seen similar examples with Chinese actors playing Koreans, Japanese actors playing Chinese characters, and so on. Despite loud commitments to authenticity, the industry's actions reveal how often surface-level representation is prioritized over cultural accuracy. Well, that's because at the end of the day, man, these virtue signals are just exactly what you said, surface level, right? They're superficial to the max, and they only adhere to the lowest common denominator of people out there that just need to, fake see themselves in order to think that these companies care about them. I don't know why there's people out there desperately looking for the validation of any kind of studio or company, but there is apparently. There's people out there that desperately want these companies to just stand by them and their social cause as if they're best friends. But at the end of the day, they're going to find out really quick, sooner or later, that these companies don't give a shit about them, and they will drop them the moment they get the opportunity to. We've seen it happening nonstop lately, where they're supposedly giving up DEI, and all these DEI hires are now being fired, or the people who were advocating for DEI are now suddenly wondering why these companies are not doing the same. Where's our DEI support? I don't understand. What are you doing? They all feel betrayed because they genuinely thought that the company cared about their social cause. So then it says Zegler connects Snow White to social messaging. This is where it gets really ridiculous. Zegler's comments about Snow White make it clear, for her, the film's purpose extends beyond storytelling. She sees her casting and the movie itself as key to fighting division and encouraging acceptance. The reality is I was given a chance because I could sing, Zegler said, ignoring Disney's love of race swapping for the sake of so-called progress. My only prayer for the future of diversity and inclusion is that we invest and nurture talent no matter what they look like. And yet, if it's no matter what they look like, then why is DEI a thing, right? If DEI as a focal point is all about giving people false opportunities that they didn't necessarily actually earn, right? Because what you're doing is you're limiting the pool of applicants based off their race. I don't care how much you want to try to convince people that they got the job based off their merit, because at the end of the day, they didn't compete against everybody for the role. There was people that was excluded from the role simply because they didn't match the check boxes that needed to be checked at the time. So you were only as good as the people that you went up against, but you didn't get to go against everybody in order to secure the role, because they made sure that the pool was very small of a group of diverse applicants. So you were only the best out of all the diversity hires, but that's really not saying much here. She then directly tied the film to broader societal change. This is when it gets good. That's why it's so important for the next generation to see movies like Snow White, she said, to realize there's nothing wrong with choosing to do what's right, and that it doesn't have to be with anger or a clenched fist. Anger can be a powerful emotion, but it doesn't bring the brightest future. Snow White chooses kindness and still makes change. Power takes many forms. I hope we'll see a new dawn of kindness and acceptance in the next couple of years, and people don't see the need to use hate to cause further division, says the people who are literally using hate to cause further division. That is hilarious that these people really think that they are the ones that are causing these fantastic changes. They are the saviors of all minorities, when they're the ones that are causing issues for actual minority and marginalized people out there. They are using them as shields and creating this situation where people are going to view the shield as the problem and not the soldier that's behind it wielding the shield. That is exactly what's going on right now in the current climate, and it's unfortunate. It really is. It's going to create more racism, and you know what? That's really what they want. They want more racism. That way they can claim victim and be successful at it and be able to grift off of the fact that they're actual victims. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you did enjoy it. And if you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.